Hey guys, my name is Elise, or Caffeine Misery, and today I'm going to be talking about one of the most fun decks to get a new upgrade out of the, as of recording, brand new Knights of Rebirth DZ-BT-08. That being the Keeper of the Moongate Veissrugr, the Moon Mythich deck. So I'm going to go ahead, talk about the deck, what I think of it, some of the thoughts I have overall about my list, some of the other options you can do, and let's go get started. So first off, for the ride line, I've got the Envoy of the Moon, and then the Follower of the Moon, Fresno, that when it rides over the Envoy, you can reveal a Veissrugr in your ride deck. You can search your deck or hand for up to one copy of Moongate put into the Aura Zone, and if you search the deck shuffle deck, if you put a card from hand, you draw a card. Now, what is the Moongate? The Moongate is a set order that you can only have one of in the deck and has the actability in the Aura Zone to Energy Blast 3 and rest it to check the top 7 cards of your deck and call a card with Mythich and its name with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard to the rearguard circle. But if you're on a grade 3 or greater Veissrugr, instead of choosing one, and calling it to rearguard circle, you get to pick 3. 1 goes to rearguard circle, and the rest go to the Aura Zone, and you can just pick to have all of them go to the Aura Zone. Why is that important? We'll get to that in a little bit. But first, let's go ahead and talk about the grade 2, the Vassal of the Moon, Ramsden, who, when it rides up from Follower of the Moon, you can check the top 7, pick 2 Mythiches, 1 goes to hand, and the other goes to the Aura Zone. And lastly, we have the main Vanguard, the Keeper of the Moongate Veissrugr, who, as a once per turn for Soul Blast 2, you can lets you use the actability of the Moongate without paying its cost. And when he attacks for a single counterblast, you get to pick 2 Mythich cards in your Moongate, call them to the same column, and your front row gets 5k until end of turn. Oh, that also has a defensive ability that when a Mythich is put on Guardian Circle by putting a Mythich card from drop onto the bottom of the deck, that Mythich gets an extra 5k shield. Going from there, let's go through the grade 3 cards, 3 of the Persona Ride, obviously, and then 3 copies of Ormusum Verdario. I hope I didn't butcher that too badly, which can only be played if you have a Veissrugr Vanguard, and on play, retires an opponent's rearguard, and your Vanguards gain the skill that when a rearguard with Mythich and its name is placed on rearguard circle by this unit's ability, you can reduce that unit's original auto abilities by 1 counterblast until end of turn. You pick 1 rearguard to do this because it is a once per turn. You'll notice I'm not on Ethel Glomani here. We'll talk about why during the wrap-up, but I did want to make sure that it was pointed out I'm not running a single copy of the card. Going on to the grade 2s. We're on to the grade 2s. Just double checking my count here. I am on 12 fucking copies of this stupid bird. I love this bird, honestly. It has 2 skills. First, the rule stacks that you can play up to 16 in a deck. And when you have a grade 3 or greater Veissrugr, it gets boost. Nice, simple, easy. We got a lot of birds. Along with that, I am on 4 copies of the first Mythich, Wolfazon Rosnir, that when it's placed on, has 2 skills. The first one being when placed on rearguard circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Veissrugr, until end of turn when it attacks, you pick an opponent's front row rearguard 2, and it attacks both the Vanguard and the rearguard circle. Along with that, when it attacks, if your Aura Zone has a Moongate, it gets 5k until end of turn, and for Counterblast 1 or Energy Blast 3, you get to draw a card. Along with that, I'm on 3 copies of the brand new grade 2 triple rare. The second Mythich is Garzormus. I hope I didn't butcher that too badly. Who has the ability that when it's placed on rearguard circle during the battle phase, if you have a grade 3 or greater Veissrugr, you can counterblast 1 until the end of the opponent's turn. It cannot be chosen by card effects, and it can attack from the back row. Along with that, it has the Has the ability during your turn that if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets 5k. If you played a normal order, it gets 15k instead of 5. We've got a nice Fenrir and a nice Yonagunda. Going to the grade 1s, I'm on 4 copies of Detonation Mutant Bulbamine, who at the end of battle boosted. If the order zone has a set order, you can put it to soul to countercharge 1. Simple, straightforward, $15 staple. It's always going to be good. And of course, just some regular purple cards. Lastly, for my trigger lineup, I am on 8 critical triggers. I am on 3 20k guard fronts. I do think the soul fronts are better in here, however, I do not own those. That's the only reason I'm not on them. They are expensive. I also have 4 regular heals, and the over trigger of choice is of course the Star Dragon Deity of Infinitude, Elder Breath, the Brant Gate over trigger, who has the ability that when it is drove check, you double the power and critical of your front row. Now, let's get into the discussion. Why am I not on Afold Golmani at all? It is a very simple answer. I very genuinely believe that it is bait. I have been radicalized against using it. I feel like conserving your resources and trying to go into more of a grind game, not really worrying too much about putting out big numbers, big power, is where this deck truly shines, because you have that sense of inevitability with how much you deck thin, how much you compress your deck. I truly believe that's one of the best things you can do. So, instead of using an additional counterblast per turn, I'm trying to conserve as much as I can. So I'm on 3 copies of Ormusem Verdario. Along with that, it retires their opponent's rear guard, so it's removal. It plays into that really grind game strategy I am going for. However, I will say though, just because that is my strategy, that does not mean it's the only strategy for this deck. You have a lot of things you really could do with this. You could cut that entirely, go for the Afold Golmani, go try and OTK. Hey, try and do this big 5 attack turn that with big numbers, try and smack for game. You could be running both. You can just be trying to rush them down with this deck. I don't think there's one outright right answer. I just personally feel like the best of them is going for a grind game, going for inevitability. But either way, one of the biggest cons of this deck is that if you're not seeing that order, you're going through 2 to 3 counterblasts per turn, especially if you're trying to get that draw. You're going through a lot of resources every turn. If you aren't seeing the order, if you're not seeing Bulbul Mines, if you miss your Persona ride, and you don't have a Bulbul Mine, you're only doing 1 Moongate activation. That really sucks. I think one of the biggest things this deck needs is an in-archetype countercharge soul charge. And I truly hope the 3rd Mythish, the Knight do that from the OP of the anime, does something like that. I hope it gives you resources instead of being more attack skills. But those are my takes on this list. If you guys like the video, do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. Latest.